let's get it started. Well, I mean, what we should have done first is, well, let's transfer this over just to be safe. I don't think this video is going to run to 30 gigabytes, but let's just make sure we have room in case. And that'll take about 45 seconds to do. All right. Now we gotta set up a fun little prediction here. I really wish I could set predictions for 25. But we can only set it up for either 20 or 30 minutes. I mean, based off of the safe start, based off of the brief, let's just put it for 30 and whatever happens, happens, because this is going to be like an
Lizard.
Oh, God. Hi, Dream. Oh, bye, Dream. I guess he's playing today. Sound bites are off, right? I hope to God sound bites are off. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. You all are going to drive me insane. That's the sound of about 120 people moving to a TFAR channel. All right. This is a TNT event. Oh. That's going to make things a little more spicy. Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. It is a TNT event. So, Friday Night Fights FNF has a sub-version of their Wargames event, which is now becoming like their mainstay large-scale PvP. Called TNT, which is Tuesday Night Tanks. Now, obviously, it's not Tuesday. This is because it used to start off as a mini game mode they'd run on Tuesday where they'd have like a platoon versus platoon on tanks. But it looks like they're now doing a company versus company of tanks. So we're going to mainly see an armored focus today for this scenario. And they've got little pictures of what Op4 looks like. It's basically US versus Russia for large-scale events like these. So we'll just have to see how things go. And yes, again, I know it's Saturday, but it is what it is. We also got some Bradleys in play, which means we'll probably see some BMP3s for Op4. Well, let's go ahead and have a look at our tasks here. So they're going to be fighting over 3 sectors here. This is a quick breakdown, but basically as they hold the sector amasses points. Whoever has the most points across all 3 sectors. Oh, why did you black screen? Hey, hey, hey. Hey. Usually that happens because my computer's detecting my VR headset, or it's just being a butt. Looks like in this case it's just being a butt. Crazy. Anyway, let's put that back in. We'll debug BS a different time. So, going back to our mission details, and I'll, give everyone a shout out, ask how everyone's doing. We were right. We were looking back on the map. So if you notice, there's a blue 4-point tally and not 4-point tally. Whoever has more points by the end of, I believe this is a 2-hour event, will basically win the match. So you got to base your bets off of that. But let's go ahead and get through everything so I can give you guys all the information. We go from there. Render distance is going to be 3 whole kilometers. Fortify points, 2,500. Probably not going to be needed. I think you can fortify if you actually control the sector. Time limit, 145 minutes, because again, 2 hours. Fortify color is going to be green. Our notes here, they've got it in really big text. To break it down, it's saying FNF Wargames TNT number 2. Feedback is appreciated after the game. If you encounter any problems in-game, use the admin tool. You press escape. Do not ask for teleports if you crash. Find transport, use the MSP. There are 2 sectors in your base, light blue and red. Interesting. MSPs, check map beforehand is a one-way ticket. This is marking blue as their zones, red is, I believe, the MSP. And then blah, 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 set your object preference to 2D in case your scopes are not working. All right, AO, small-sized towns and villages surrounded by forests and small hills. Date in-game, September 13th, 2025. Date of time in the game, 6:25 a.m., so it's morning up. Weather, clear skies to almost no wind. Mission rules. Don't you love this big text? FNF rules applies with addition of the following rules. You are allowed to Lone Wolf as long as you are following orders by Command HQ, Platoon HQ, Platoon Leader, Squad Leader. Echo 1-3 will need to be all 3 players in a squad to operate, start, Platoon Leader, Missile Specialist, Assistant Missile Specialist. These are usually Echo as the AT groups. Just to clarify, it's not allowed to build on top of buildings except for 1 layer of sandbags if you're on tall buildings and whatnot, because they don't want people to camp the top of buildings and, you know, turn into a fortress that can't be countered because the building can't be destroyed. It's not allowed to steal enemy radios or uniforms. Engineers, it's not allowed to build on top of buildings, blah, blah, blah. I think they've had that listed twice. Camping, they're also talking about HESCO rules too, so that's why the engineers have a specific section, because they're the ones that can, you know, use the fortify tool. Camping or attacking enemy base is not allowed, so basically, you know, camping outside of their spawn zones. For fair play, any intention to affect the game or balance of the mission to metagame is forbidden. There's no cheese. Even though cheese is delicious, it's not here. Refer to strategies or tactics that are considered cheap, unfair, overly simple. Yeah, don't metagame. Win condition, as I said, if you capture and hold all 3 sectors at the same time, by the way, you automatically win. So it's implied to at least have control of 1 sector. If there is no 3 sectors completely controlled, then, again, it goes to the point system. It's rare for that to happen, but if there's like a massive number advantage early on, let's say Op4 loses like 5 of their tanks early on, then it gets a little more likely we'll see that control, but we'll see how things go. There is no overtime, by the way, so if just goes till it goes. All right. Any parameter logs, performance tweaks is for high performance. Basically, they've neutered all of the cinematic and graphic stuff, and then we've got an OCAP review in case anyone gets salty. User marker, cool. All right, Blue 4 loadouts. Let's have a look at, they're going to be U.S. Marine-based kits. So we've got our M4-based platforms. We have MP7s for their submachine guns. They've got some tow launchers in play if they want to go after some Op4 AT. They got some static mounts for those tow launchers. We have some possible commando teams with some camoed M4 platforms. I forget the exact platform of that gun, but it's an AR style. M72s, I mean, fighting Op4 Arma that's modernized, good luck. And then you got some GLs for some of that weaponry as well. We have some transport Humvees, some MRZRs, 42 M1A2s. So we've got them loaded with AP ammo and MPAT ammo. AP for armor, MPAT for infantry and lighter skinned vehicles. They also have the M240Cs. Otherwise, yeah, and then the Commander MG also has an M2 as well. We have 15 M2A2 Bradleys, so they've got the tow missiles, they've got 25mm, it just doesn't list the ammo, so that bugged a little bit, that's fine. Some M113 transports, and then 4 copies of RRR, and then 9 MRAPs for command or drone operators to use if they want something more armored. I'm going to be honest, speed would be the best bet, though. Op4's loadout, Russian Spetsnaz, so they've got their AK-74s, PP-2000 for their submachine gunner. RPG-32s for their medium anti-tank. I don't see any statics, so that's interesting. And then we've got, you know, patterned AK-74s, GP-25s, then the RPG-26. They've got 6 UAZs, 9 Gazes, 15 BMP-2s. Interesting choice. But they have the Metis launcher. Then we've got 42 T90 AMs, and those are loaded with a bigger difference of ammo. We've got AP, HEAT, HE, and ATGM. We have 2 Gaz radio trucks. So these, compared to the 113s, these are mobile respawn teleporters. And then we've got the 4 sets of RRR, and then the 9 Gaz MRAPs to counter the 1240s in case they want to use those. Let's go ahead and look at our sides here. We have the time. I will shout everybody out. Orthy Oliver is going to be commanding Blue 4. We've seen him in FNF doing a lot of command recently. I think he's well and prepped for this. And then everyone's going to be in groups of 3 because that is the armor team equivalents. So Company 1 has CD, Turnville, and Sky. We've got Train Doc, Neok, and Rook in Company 2, and then Alpha Command has Benda and Tomer. Alpha 1 has Nitya, Nir, and Dimitri. Alpha 2 has Ellie, Guy, and Raz. Alpha 3 has Tom and Insimi. We've got under Charlie Command, Tuntamatan, Sumu, and Toyota Yaris. Charlie 2 has Maman, Rat, and Boiti. Huh. Delta Command has Wajtek, Defoy, and Setzler. Fast Sugar, Nociel, and Cole are under Delta 1. Delta 2 is Audrey, Gregory, and Serg. Delta 3 is NASA, Depso, and Kremet. Pretty good shooter team there. Shapira, Yuval, and Welcome under Echo 1. Echo 3 has Junes, Enzio, and Jess. I'm pretty sure... Jesse, excuse me. Pretty sure these guys are a mobile AT team. We see some Mazes there to counter the RPG 32s. Foxtrot has Omri, Pier, and David. I've heard these guys are drone operators, but they also could have those toes. But you also see that they've got the suppressed M4s and whatnot. They're going to be a little more on the useless side, probably just focusing on hunting enemy Echo teams. Usually in FNF without the tanks, there's only like one platoon of tanks and people are mostly infantry, but today is one of those exceptions. And then Foxtrot 2 has Paul, Talvald, Haxelos, and Klemek. India here is Patriot, Banks, Waldo, and Kabubi. I think we'll have... I actually don't know which platoon is going to be taking the Bradleys, but we'll see what these guys are doing.
You'll be spotted by Echo 1 and Foxtrot 1.
Orthe is giving the battle plan to Blue 4 there. Otherwise, we have... Oh, it screwed up my scrolling there. Bravo Command, Kaiser involved, Kudav, Rashvan, and Draper under Bravo 1. Bravo 2 has Nikti and Hagrid. Echo 2 has Flavius and Kiri. But just to show you guys, we have a platoon here, a platoon here, a platoon here, and a platoon here. Tank platoons usually are 4 vehicles. Safe zone drops in 5. So it looks like they have their own version of Triple R. They got 3 Bradleys and then 9 tanks to work with. But this is a 3 life op, so... I doubt either side has to worry about running out of armor, but we'll try to find and see what cool things either side does here. But looking over at Op 4's numbers, Fancy is going to be commanding Op 4. I don't see a lot of command from him, so that should be good. Alligator Lover is going to be his 2IC. I think he got a job down in Florida, you know, doing some sort of guard job. Crazy how that works. Sambi, FPS Freak, and Jivu are under Alpha Command. Alpha 1 has Sherry, that's it. And Mr. Gianni, we got Oddball, Watts, and Killer J under Bravo Command. Bravo 2 has Skip Upogren and Sarna. We got Snatchbear and Wiki Courts under Bravo 3, Bates, Rector, and Stallard under Charlie Command. Charlie 1 has Franz Marstick and Michael. Charlie 2 has Norris Buckner and Jaeger. Charlie 3 has Riley and Holtz.
You say
Delta.
that. Last time one team completely ran out of armor and they lost because of a Dierk.
If you recall correctly. Hey, you never know. But did they have all 4 of those armored platoons and extra BMPs and armor in the middle? Because, I mean, it was like 40-something for the tanks. So if I see one side lose 40 tanks over 2 hours, that's brutal. Anyway, Malin is the head honcho of FNF. He runs everything, at least behind the scenes. We like to make fun of him when things break. Malin, I was having a funny chat with Fonz before we started. Fonz was the guy yesterday where the one guy just somehow missed 60 rounds in the 249 point blank on Fonz. And then we saw him get admin TP'd and checked. Nonetheless, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for the 84-month resub. I hope you keep enjoying the operations. Hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. Nick, Carboner, and Timo under Delta Command. Delta 1 has Nicholas, Arion, and Washko. Also, I don't know how English works. I don't know if I'm pronouncing these right. You can yell at me in chat. We got Dobbs and Cullis in Delta 2. Delta 3 has Azariah, Nemesis, and Yanni. No Audrey Hotto, though, which I think is for the best, because last time we saw Audrey Hotto and Azariah together, they got reported for hacking again, because apparently they broke Audrey Hotto's kill record. And, yeah, we all know how that song and dance goes in FNF if you know who Audrey Hotto is. Bursty, Henry, and T together in Echo 1. Hirana, Tackleberry, Gazag, and Swola under Echo 2. Again, those are your medium anti-tank teams, but it looks like they're taking a tank themselves. Echo 3, which is also a dedicated AT team. Looks like it's going to be Iander, Wayne, and Dream. Iander, the AT god. Fonz, Ryan, Chance, Toms, and Pupper under Foxtrot 1. Foxtrot 2 has a single player. That's going to be Nekomata, Squanchy, Squanch, ASR, Div, and Demicles under India, and Harrington alone in Alpha 3. Otherwise, we have a big chunk of Op 4 vehicles lining up. Mission begins in 2 minutes. I'm going to have a sip of water. And we're going to be counting what both sides deploy in the opening salvo here. Otherwise, I'm going to scroll up to the beginning. I'd like to give a shout out to Charlotte, Ember, Bearded Lord, Earth Knights, RW, I'm just going to call you Mute. I'm sorry. There's a lot of letters there. Earth, Dream, of course, but he's playing, so he's not here anymore. Ember again. Dragon, a.k.a. Sergeant. Earth Knight, Axe Baron, Sly, Devil, Da Cheese, Legumi, Dreadnought, Broadshore. And I think that's everyone here that's chatted. So, hope you enjoy the next 2 hours. We also are going to be under Stillwater tonight. That's going to be 10 p.m. Eastern Standard, which is in 7.5 hours. And I'm going to be focusing on editing, maybe chilling with a few people in the interim. See if I can also get some mission dev done. Pog next week is ready to go. Congo is ready to go. I'm just waiting for a time slot to do it. It's probably not going to be till after this coming weekend. So, you know, we make it work. You heard your name? I'm just saying hi and thank you for being here. That's it. What was that DayZ stream? You lost so many brain cells in the 45 minutes that you were watching? Good. Look. Ah, yes, it's one of my new moderators, Actionet. You see, Actionet and Molly defected from SL Dream's stream, and they're working for me now. It's great. But yeah, that DayZ stream was just to let SL Dream, because I'm going to be honest, especially with some of you like Dragon, you guys have been bullying Dream a little hard in POG. So I thought to let him get back at me, especially since I just poached his moderators, I'll let him control the sound bites in the DayZ stream. Judging from the fact that you see me here and I haven't had an aneurysm, that means I survived it, but my God, was that something. So we might do that once a month. Also, quick side announcement, the table flip zone in my Discord has been changed to the Lizard Brain Zone channel. We'll probably change it once a month to whatever brain rot we have actively going on, because why not? I want to have a bit more fun while I'm doing stuff. And we already have a KIA! One tank on Blue 4 has been blown up by saboteurs. How did they do it? I have no idea, but... Oh, we have a second tank cooking off. Holy shit! That is 3 Abrams destroyed. Right out of the gate. They're probably going to get refunded by Malin, but that is pretty damn funny. What I'm assuming is the half-second desync of the tank initializing its scripts. When it does, if you notice that little clipping that you saw, that can clip into another vehicle and blow up. And I think that is what we just witnessed. So Malin is going to have to respawn 3 tanks for Blue 4, make sure they're scripted properly and balanced. But otherwise, we got both sides practically deploying here. Little bit of a false start for Blue 4, but Op 4, it looks like we've had no false starts. I don't see any burning wrecks. That is a nice start to have. We're still going to have betting for at least another 12 to 15 minutes. So if you want to sit on your hands and wait, feel free. But I'm going to be honest, I doubt anything critical is going to happen to influence the tactics we're going to see in this scenario. Also, quick disclaimer, we are using RHS, so the tank sounds from both sides, even the truck sounds, there is a 1 in 1,000th chance that when I load the sounds, when I move up to the asset, it causes a instant VRAM crash in my graphics card. That is just an ARMA thing. So if we randomly black screen anytime soon, that's because of that. I can't fix it. RHS doesn't know how to fix it. It's just an ARMA limitation. So please bear with me, but I will do my best to make sure everything's covered. Thankfully, those Blue 4 members blew up in safe zone, so they didn't actually lose a life. That would be kind of awkward if they did. But let's go ahead and look at our sectors. So Sector 3, we've got just a nice little village here. Sector 1, we just have a nice little village over here. And then Sector 5, we have a nice little village over here. You know, so I'm sure things will be fine. Sector 3, I mean, if we were to look at the little micro details, you do have some open areas along it towards Blue 4 territory, so Op 4 could get into this one and then just camp the open fields if they wanted to. Sector 1 has a lot of greenery going in from Blue 4 spawn and then some openness to its west. So Blue 4 could use these to try to stop Op 4 reinforcements from coming in. And then Sector 5 is also open fields towards Blue 4 spawn. So slight advantage to Op 4 in terms of these AOs, but I'm going to be honest, if they're duking it out at this range with armor, I think they've already screwed up. They need to be engaging at maximum range, but this is a 3-click render zone. So that means 1, 2, they can see all the way up to that bridge, which is beyond my maximum render distance. That's cute. I get respawns too. Ha! Looks like some Blue 4 have it deployed. I guess it was an accidental deployment. I don't think Blue 4's plan here was to deploy in the lake, but, you know, maybe they saw something they wanted. Maybe their kobold brains went out, and they just went, ooh, shiny. I just saw a temporary unit flat. You know you're supposed to kick it out of the water, right? Not deeper. So there was a KIA here. That is quite unfortunate. Now we've got Op4 having a lot more staging units close to the 2 sectors here. You know, that is a good point. Maybe Blue 4 is trying to get a car battery in the water to appease the electric eels early. You got to think about this tactically. Blue 4, they did lose 3 tanks in spawn. They may have been respawned by Malin already, but that does lose a little bit of time for Blue 4. So maybe Blue 4 is now trying to prey to the eels by appeasing them with a car battery for good luck. You only budgeted for 2 times Arma tanks and Blue 4 Arma 3, so they've technically already lost. That's amazing. That is actually amazing. Yeah. I would say Malin in the future maybe space them out a little more because, again, it's when RHS initializes the scripts, the tank goes into a bit of a debug mode. And when you have this many players on and a lot of scripts running, sometimes the physics of the tank, when it moves into that debug mode, they forget to turn off. So I think it just clipped into stuff and blew up, unfortunately. You got to tell that to Nem? I'm probably not going to remember that. So, Nem, if you're watching the VOD back, buddy, now you know. Otherwise, we have a little bit of downtime. Op4 is going to start capturing Sector 1. There it is. We'll start seeing that point tick up. Blue 4 on the map will notice that they are starting to lose points here. But we see Op4 is doing a strategy where they're going to try to take Sector 1 and 5 and just defend those 2 areas. Maybe send a few scout units over to harass Sector 3. But Op4 is going to be playing a 2-sector defense. Blue 4, I can't really tell. Looks like they're sending some stuff up to immediately harass Sector 5. Some stuff's going to Sector 3, so they're going to try to capture both of those and then maybe maneuver into Sector 1, but with the opening fights, we'll just have to see how things go. But how is everyone doing on this fine Saturday? I was up with Bloodwing doing some wedding shopping. I know her mother's coming over later. We've got more stuff to work on. I just broke the news to my best man that because he didn't book a hotel, and he hasn't told me what his itinerary is yet, because I told him he had to tell me by 2 days ago so I could book him something. I just told him, yeah, no, you're just going to be in my hotel room. And I'm bringing rope. Anyway. I love fucking with Dante. Regardless, we've got one. Yeah, that's worthy of a bonk, right, Dreadnought? So we've got NR moving 1 tank right into the sector because it hasn't been captured yet. Op4 hasn't brought anything around. Well, they're bringing it around, but not bringing it in. Plot twist, it's what he wanted. I can assure you it is not. Ah, man. All right, and then we've got Banks and Waldo here. So one of the... Oh, it's Team India. So they're coming into here. This is going to start capturing the sector, though. So Sector 5 we see is blue. That is... Oh, the tank has captured it. We do have a vehicle driving in. Looks like they're immediately stopping, though, because they realize that that sector's gone blue, meaning there are Blue 4 elements in here. So I thought Op4 would be a bit quicker in getting in. We do, however, have a whole platoon of Op4 armor coming in. At least 4 tanks, a BMP, and then a utility gas with some Overwatch on this building here. Which server? This is a Friday Night Fight server. Danfa, if you type !FNF, you'd be able to jump in here. I missed Blue 4 also driving a tank into a river. I know they drove an MRZR in the river down here. But did they... So what? They've lost 2 tanks now, Malin? To their own intelligence? Incredible. All right, we got Foxtrot in here. They're hiding their MRZR in this position. They got an M72 Law. I would be very surprised if we saw a 72 actually do damage to a... well, will do damage, but actually, like, destroy a T90. They would have to hit it, honestly, with a bit of elevation in the back rack right here, because you can see the plating of the ERA all around it. That's a drone. That's a fucking drone. This is their drones. Yep. We just heard the engine cut out on that tank. Tank has been disabled. Engine is down. They're trying to pop some defensive smokes here. I was told to watch the Foxtrot teams because they do have access to Crocus AT drones. It just happened again. Ay, ay, ay. All right, Op 4 setting up a defensive line here. We have a single Blue 4 tank just driving around. It's one tank that's rushed ahead. We've got... Looks like the crew is abandoning the tank. We've got one armor piece now for Op 4 firing at range. They are trying to engage some Blue 4 armor that is coming in. I can't tell where those rounds are going, because I'm not seeing anything in the distance. Hearing some additional rounds fire as well. We do have a single Abrams coming up. It is now engaging this tank. Op 4's trying to cycle their armor to give them 2 things to shoot at, but they can both get targets on range here. 2 tracks, 1 cannon. God damn. We have 1 T90 that's been cooked. And the Abrams takes a hit. Possibly decrewed. That's Bravo Command jumping out of the vehicle. Kaiser was killed. And I think Vovkudov also just got taken out. So a 1-for-1 trade. Op 4 could recover that tank, though, and repair. We just heard something else cook off back here. What was that? That was another 2 Abrams arming into each other. That brings the Blue 4 armored tank tally up to 6, with only 2 being able to be refunded. So every time Blue 4 does something amazing and taking out an Op 4 tank, they somehow make it worse from themselves. So, to give a quick tally, past all the refunds, Op 4 are down 2 tanks, Blue 4 are down 6. 2 refunded, so 4. So, Malin, when you were saying earlier that there would probably be 1 team running out of tanks, it might be Blue 4 at this rate. We just heard a Metis launch. I think they're putting more rounds in this tank. I think Blue 4, I see. They're trying to cook the tank off so Op 4 can't capture it. That's a smart call. And then we've got a 2-man Echo team coming in over here. They do have a Moz. They could be a credible threat to some of that armor. But look at this. We have a Metis launcher. That's a Cormet. And it already has fired around because we see that that tube is empty. So Blue 4 down a pretty significant amount of armor already. They've got about 43, I believe, if we were to check the mission details. 42. 6 divided by 42 is whatever percentage that they have already lost. But there might be a 7th from what Malin was saying because one of them got flipped. But we do hear another Crocus drone in the sky. There she is. Ah, I see. So this tank, they repaired the engine. They're trying to get it away. We just saw some rounds go up and hit another drone up there. I think the drone is coming around to potentially line up to hit this tank. I see. So that was another drone hitting. But Foxtrot for Blue 4 are going to do their best to basically harass the drone operators. We have a pretty solid defense on Sector 3 for Blue 4 down here. Blue 4 also still have control of Sector 5. Op4's trying to send some forces in to capture it. We don't have Blue 4 making any advances onto Sector 1, though. Instead, they've got harassment units around here. We have a single tank pushing around trying to cover this area right here. We got a long-range engagement happening between these two areas. Now, critical thing to note, Blue 4 were a little later on capturing their two sectors, so this is nearly up to 400, whereas these two sectors have recently passed 200. So the number ratio is not that far off. Look at this, though. We've got India coming around. They are going to run into another element of India. This is Patriot. Trying to get on an angle to potentially cut off that fuel drone. He does have light anti-tank. He needs to pull it out. Pull out that AT-4. The lid. Bro, Patriot. Trying to use GLs. GLs are not going to stop that thing. You got to use your AT-4, buddy. This is, I believe, one of their teleport Vics. No, that's the repair Vic. He is doing damage to it, but now he has to get back in his MRZR and basically run that thing down. Because he can force them on the border, and they've got no support to respond with it. You can see the rest of the Triple R coming in. So he can, Squanchy if he wants, he can move closer in the border and just completely avoid India there, but it looks like he is going to bypass because he doesn't want to risk trying to hunt that thing down. We have another tank entering Sector 5 here. Op4 maneuvering a bit of infantry in. We do have an RPG-32 gunner that can respond. More armor coming around. We have what sounds like machine gun fire, possibly engaging another drone. You can hear it. Drone is getting low to avoid those small arms. Now it's climbing. It looks like it sees the gas and it's gonna go for it. Gotta be careful with that tree. I honestly think he hit just short of the gas itself, but minimal damage to the up-armored nature of that gas. Op4 have now moved an armored group over to the flank. They are now engaging this M1A1. Doesn't realize it's being engaged, but they do have some kills on them already. Beautiful hit to the rear. That forces the crew out, and that tank is about to cook off. India blowing past here as we have another set of T-90s engaging a pair of Abrams that didn't even see this coming. They're panically trying to respond as those tanks are hitting the engine on the rear block. Never stood a chance, and Blue 4 lose another 3 tanks, bringing their destroyed tank tally up to 10. Remember, they got 42 total. A point-blank HE shot just to kill any crew that were still alive around it. You can tell by that smoke billow. Absolutely brutal. Now they're point-blanking them and finishing them off. Foxtrot needs to be told about this so they can respond with some of those drones to help thin out what Op4 has. But we are seeing a pretty credible threat growing, where even though Blue 4 have the early advantage here, their armor, through their own inaction and inability to keep their keep driving forward and on the road, combined with losses in combat, is causing a lot of Blue 4 armor to get taken out. Honestly, it is such a mistake that they are exposing their rears like this. This is the credibly defendable part. You are more up-armored on the front. I don't know why they would turn around and show their exposed rear to a T-90. And look at that, you got 3 other tanks now coming around to just pummel this. God, it's like a meme where you have the Abrams in front on the couch and then the 4 T-90s in the back just looking at it. Never stood a chance. I do love the tactics we're seeing, though. The coordination. This is across 2 platoons as well, Charlie and Bravo. My God. Utterly destroying the rear of that M1. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway. Blue Force still have control of Sector 5 with a few members in the middle, but against all of this armor, I think they're eventually going to get run down. We still have some solid defense around Sector 3. Blue Force is going to be able to maintain that, but I think Op 4 is going to be able to start taking the zone of Sector 5 with pure numbers alone. They find Banks. He's trying to vault the fence. You see the tanks are running over all the fences so they can open up their sight lines here. I do hear a drone in the air. It misses. And Banks evades. They're putting HE in the buildings now to try to spook them. You see Sector 5 is now being captured as that little box to the right is a little hard to see, but the line is lowering, showing that Op 4 are now taking the zone to at least knock it to neutral so Blue 4 can't score any more points. Now we have an IFV coming in trying to clean up the remaining infantry. Banks is the only one in here. Kabubi's left the zone. Looking to the south, we do have some Blue 4 armor marauding around with some T-90s also looking. Looks like this T-90 is going to be watching for those India infiltrators that we saw earlier, but they've pulled around. It's now an Echo team just holding that far zone. Then we've got another T-90 covering the northern side, and then a bunch of tanks now trying to maneuver along the south. Maybe they're trying to find a way to intercept more Blue 4 elements here. BMPs are now just trying to take out whatever they can. I think they caught a piece of Echo. But it looks like they're only a 2-man team right now. Attrition-wise, I think Op 4 is looking pretty good so far. But can we see the Abrams bounce back? We need to see a tactics change of Blue 4 members ceasing to expose their rears to T-90s. So that was a solid AT hit, but it hit the ERA plate right on the side. So there's a little bit of spaced armor that absorbed the round and caused it to detonate just forward, and then the rest got absorbed by the plate. So under most vehicles, that would be a solid hit, but unfortunately, because of both the spaced armor and the ERA plate, it just didn't do enough damage. Another round goes out, hits the BMP. This one has the engine in the front with no armor, so that was a great shot there. Could potentially cook it off. If not, it's absolutely disabled. You hear the buzzing of the drones overhead. These finicky little Crocus drones, what they need to do is now slowly lower. There's a satchel charge on that thing. Oh, no. Another AT hit goes in. That's a follow-up shot on the BMP that kicks some of the crew out. That could cook off. Abrams now being sent in. Op 4 have control of the zone. Point-blank shot. Literally penetrated the building and took that guy out. Henry has the AT. Tank is pulling back immediately. Got more shots on the south. RPG-32 hits the front of the tank. Henry gets knocked out, but hitting the front isn't going to do much because of the heavy plating. You have to hit that exposed rear. Really spank it with that RPG. Oh. So apparently if you attach a satchel charge or a demo block to a Crocus drone, it automatically cooks off. That is going to make their bomb drones that much more effective with that added enhancement of a satchel charge, because that instantly cooked off an Abrams. Is that cheese? I'm going to argue no, because both sides can do it. It's called improvise, adapt, overcome. Now, if it was a darter drone and they were putting explosives on it and turning the darter into a suicide drone, then I'd have a problem with it, because that is subverting the use of what that drone is supposed to do in the first place. This was a T-90, I believe. No! That's another Abrams that just got knocked. Blue 4's tank losses are potentially up to 15 now, out of 42. And I'm actually incredibly worried we might see a side run out of tanks. Really surprised we have infantry running around. We do have an active Gaz over here with the driver just chilling. I'm really surprised we're not seeing Blue 4 respond to that. One tank moving south, another one watching this angle. But yeah, you've basically got the far campers here to prevent any Blue 4 elements from just circling around and engaging the rear side of Op 4's line. It's a smart idea. But yeah, I'd start being a little worried if you bet Blue 4, because Blue 4 just are taking way too many tank losses too early on. You got Dwight here with that AT, disabled that BMP, got a kill, and he's got a tank literally pounding his position, but he's got nowhere to maneuver. He's running, trying to get behind that BMP, immediately takes crewman fire from Bates with that PP-2000. Bates gets headshotted as he's knocked to his knees. The PP-2000, it's nice because it has those 44 round, but it's 9x19mm magazines. So the caliber against body armor isn't going to do much compared to, you know, a 5.56 rifle getting a headshot. That's going to pen the helmet pretty easily. But the PP-19 side of the helmet, it's actually going to catch. Now, if you get 2 or 3 headshots in that burst, it's going to kill him. But, you know, one little tap, not going to do so much. But now we're going to witness what happens when a tank decides to bully an infantryman. He'd be pulling out AT if he had it, but he doesn't. So now the tank's, yeah. Commit. Commit. Or back up and hit the HE round, and yeah. Splat the poor bastard. Op 4 bringing in additional armored assets to reinforce Sector 5. Good call. I also love that Op 4 is not putting anything on defense on Sector 1. Instead, they're doing a defense in detail, using their defensive assets as offense for other sectors because the other sectors are in front of Sector 1. If they create a big enough area, they can stop Sector 1 from being taken. However, Blue 4 can counter that by literally sticking a single infantryman inside. Actually, that's a good Malin question. Malin, do we have the ability for single individuals to capture sectors? Usually that's a no in Wargames, but curious to see what you say. I think they can knock the sector to neutral, but they can't take the sector themselves. Look at this, by the way. We have a Bradley right here with a double toe launch. Those toes, if they hit right here, they could actually take the tank out. Oh, come on. Come on. Hey, the lid. The lid. Oh, Mister. Now he noticed, he's yelling. Now they got the side. Toe launch goes in. It penetrated the plate. That's an instant cook-off because the crew bailed out. They got it. Those AP rounds are only going to disable the turret and the optics. By the way, this actually has happened in Ukraine multiple times with a Bradley engaged in a T-90. What they do is they'll start hitting the optical cameras on the T-90 to disable it so they don't have eyes. And then they'll just toe launch it if they get a rear shot like that. But that AP gun isn't going to do jack shit to destroying it itself. I think the Abrams just got a beautiful hit on the rear of the T-90. You see that it's darkened now, showing that it has damage. But I'm going to be honest, in a 1v1 front to front, the Abrams usually outperforms the T-90. So we've seen a lot of Op 4 tactics where they're engaging with multiple T-90s or other supporting assets. Cormit round comes in. Sorry, Metis round, same launcher though. Hits right in the front of the Abrams, but the Abrams can tank those, especially from the front really well. But you're seeing even the Bradley can one-tap the T-90, and it's got 2 of those toes. So I'd say American equipment is better, but right now Op 4 players are playing with better tactics and strategy and common sense, because Blue 4's lost 4 or 5 tanks already to their own incompetence, but we like to skip over that part. So I think Echo might have just taken a shot at that vehicle. Yep, because we have Enzio reloading. If they were to hit the rear, there would be some damage shown. But since there is no hits, it looks like they missed. Oh, they might have hit that same spot in the back left, actually. Yep, that's exactly where they're hitting. That time, it penetrated because the ERA plating was already weakened from that other hit. The engine is down. They could still repair it, but a third round could take it out. But we do have the sound of an Abrams coming in to finish this vehicle off. I do love, with the Arma 3 Tanks DLC, how they have made ERA and spaced armor work. Because it used to be one hit to the rear would cook this bitch off no matter what. But now it actually matters, you know, what type of AT you're using, what type of vehicle you're fighting. The version of that vehicle determines what ERA style plates it has. Look at this, though. We have a second tank coming in. The rear hits it could get on these Abrams could be devastating, as these guys are literally just here to box in the infantry. But they're not, well, okay, they're turned out and looking. They might have eyes, but the Blue 4 tanks are now coming in. Beautiful marksmanship from Echo 3 there. One of them just took out, it might have been Enzio, the infantryman right there. Yep, you see him putting a few more double tap shots on, but great hitting. Oh, and the tank, it doesn't see the Blue 4, so instead they're going to turn away. That's unfortunate. They had a really good angle. Tank could get in its gun and defend itself as the other player starts recouping the engine. But they angle it the wrong way. And the AT team comes in and kills the guy repairing. Well, knocks him out, but he will be dead soon. Looking on the map, we do have Patriot moving into the zone. However, there's a tank there stopping him from capping it. Oh, God. NR lost another tank, and the T-90's coming up to see if there's any crew to take out. Brutal. Looking back at this tank, though. Looks like Blue 4 are using some forces here as picket defense. Maybe they're waiting for additional reinforcements to come in as well. And then you got some op for it. Both of those tanks that were up there were taken out. You do have some stragglers as well as a Gaz driving around. These Abrams are in a hold. I'm hearing more distant armored shots. Looks like the Bradley got cooked. Because the other, BMP-2 came in. That was the one that fired a Metis at one of the tanks. So I wonder what cooked the Bradley here. MP7 engaging. But that MP7, the caliber of bullet, which I believe is 5.7, is going to outperform the PP2000. But PP2000, I think it's 40 round magazines versus 44. Those extra bullets can make all the difference. And he just opts to respawn. Look at this. Now we got the Abrams pushing this T-90. It's D-Track trying to move. Fires an HE round into the Abrams. That's going to do minimal damage. Other T-90's trying to come in and assist. Finds a flanking angle on the Abrams, but it was a front hit. That's going to do minimal damage. They have to aim for the rear. Nice side hit there. They're dead in the water. They have no idea what hit them. The round comes in. Sister vehicle backs up. Abrams cooks off. Great assistance here by Alpha 1. But now we have the Abrams trying to pull into a flanking action. It's going to try to get on the rear of the T-90. Oh, only armor can affect zones. Nice. Abrams caught the T-90. T-90 also takes a Moz round from the other side. Hits it in the exact same sweet spot. Now the rears to the Abrams. Does the rear Abrams have an angle? We see another shot come in. I don't know if it was firing at the T-90 or what. Abrams now pushing forward, has a beautiful rear shot. They've got eyes on the infantry maneuvering around. They have the 12.7 turning around. Why is this Abrams not committing? Because it has an angle. I think it ricocheted off the tree, though. T-90's going to hear that and freak out and start backing up. Did you see how that thing literally went through the back and then came out the front? Gun is down. Another AT round hits. The machine gun is the only thing working. Another round rips through the rear, right into the crew compartment, ripping that engine apart. Machine gun is now going to auto, cripple, and kill the infantry in the back. We have a runner off to the side. There's the cook-off. Beautiful actions by that tank. It was being a little more patient than I would have liked, but hey, sometimes patience pays off. Looking at the rest of our forces here, we do have India on this side, avoiding a BMP-2. Blue Force still have some defense around Sector 3. Sector 5 for Op 4 has a lot more defense. But Blue 4 are mobilizing a critical attack wave over here. However, Echo 2 has a Cormet. And potentially an angle to work with. That tube looks spent, and we do have a destroyed Abrams. Look at that, because the rear was facing the Cormet. So if that Cormet reloads, it's going to have another beautiful shot on that tank platoon.
18, 118, 218, 218.
Rana does have an armor kill.
Alright.
Missile away. Beautiful shot right on the rear. Hit the corner, and that tank has no idea where she just got engaged. What would be critical, by the way, is if they waited for a tank to be on this bridge, took the tank out, and then were able to block the bridge. That would cut off one of Blue Force choke points. And being able to move forces back here. Food for thought. Because there's no reason for Op 4 to want to use that bridge anyway. Now, that would mean the Metas team is stuck back there, but that's totally worth it. We have another piece of armor coming in view. Honestly, they should wait for them to cease, because making a mobile hit like that would be difficult. Plus, they have a little bit of defilade they're fighting against. We hear the gunner talking about the target is a little too fast here. I agree with that. Hold fire on that. You don't want to give it away and miss the rocket, or excuse me, missile, and then potentially let them use the powers of deduction to see where they are. We just heard an artillery round come in. You heard the wind of it. You did not. Well, they did a little bit of damage to their engine because the engine's on the rear and they just flooded it for a second. Who do we give the credit to if they flood their own tank's engine like that? The Metis crew or the tanks that are harassing them? Oh, this is... Yeah. Yeah. Maneuver kill! Maneuver kill! I think Kiri died instantly. He took the missile. Oh. I can't believe it. I wasn't expecting to see something like that. That was pretty incredible. That's the thing about Blue 4 MRAPs. You have to be careful. Because if you turn too hard, you will flip the vehicle. Because that bitch is top heavy. So now they're disengaging. I think... No, they are bringing the Cormet with them. They're popping smokes because they're now going to think Blue 4 is going to turn their armor around and harass them. There is a bit of a land crossing over here that this tank can use. But I think they're up here to potentially do some flanking action. We do see some rounds coming in from range here, trying to harass some of these units. Wikicort's pulling his unit back because his gunner is down. Really risky to expose your engine like that. But he is getting some cover from another tank so he can potentially pull back and pick up his dead crewman. It's going to be a long drive, though. 3 Op 4 tanks are entering the zone, though, possibly to come and reinforce. Oh, using a machine gun from that range is no good. Meanwhile, we've caught a Blue 4-man medic in, and Shari is looking for blood. Beautiful headshot there by Shari. It's got a blue 4 CCO red dot on it too. Shari hears gunfire. Oh, we hear that immediate reaction. Trying to get that headshot. Shari takes a few hits, calls being nicked there. You see a few blood splatters. Shari's fighting Maman, who's also taking some hits. Oh, and then there's a beautiful headshot. Grenade wasn't thrown far enough. Triple kill for Shari, cleaning up that blue 4 crew. And we still have another crewman here. Got the tank repaired, potentially got the engine repaired, and is driving around. That means either the Abrams that were over here left. I mean, one... Got the T90 turret that came out. One got cooked, I know that. That's right there. But the other one, I have no idea where she went. So we got Echo border riding here. They might see that tank.
Yeah. On our left. Stop.
They've spotted her. Do they have the AT to take it out, though? One good rear hit.
I need to alt-tab out and check the document. Just shout if you need me back in game.
So they're talking about checking a document, which means they have the Abrams blueprints, probably from War Thunder, let's be honest. And now they're going to figure out how to destroy it. Oh, they're talking about potentially getting a guy to peek out of it so they can just headshot him. Oh, they're being cheeky. Oh, they're checking how they rearm. Got it, right, because they do have that Cormet. And they're sending Tackleberry up to harass it. All right, I think my T's cooled down enough. Perfect. Malin, do you have knock-on vehicles? Because it would be really funny to watch these two guys just walk up and start knocking on the damn thing. And then Blue 4 to actually mistakenly get out. You should. Next time. Tell that to Nemesis. I don't think they have the ability to remove tracks, but that would also be something. Got to be careful with the tank. You don't want to be past 2/3 of it. So anything past, I want to say right here, that line here and there, because that's where you risk overpressure. Do a quick map check. See, True Cheese would be crawling under it and then killing the crew. He just took a little overpressure damage because the bushes are also deflecting some of that overpressure more back. No way did they actually just get the driver of the tank to get out of the vehicle. No fucking way did NR just actually fall for that. Now there's 2 more tanks coming. NR is not having a good time today, that's for damn sure. If only Hirana had more AT. So what got destroyed up here? This is probably an Op 4 vehicle, right? Yes, later UAZ up here. Ash is just swimming. Yeah, it's good to take a nice swim. He does have an AT stick, but again, that's going to do nothing to an Abrams. Now, if you want real cheese, you could take that wheel, you can shove it right into the rear of an Abrams, and you can technically cook it off. Now, that's cheese. That'd make Malin mad. I'd have to say no, but deep down in my heart, you'd be pretty based if you did it. River. It wouldn't surprise me if I watch an Abrams just drive blindly into the river and get stuck. So Op 4 has lost 8 tanks and Blue 4 has lost 15. Yeah, no surprise there, Chief. We do see that there are some Op 4 tank losses still mounting here. But the main tank fighting appears to be up here. You do have some skirmishing, but the main fighting is up here. Quick tally of the points. We've got 2,000 points here, 2,200 points there. Blue 4 has almost 500 here, but then 1,200 there. So Op 4 is technically winning this fight. Funny enough to think about, if Op 4 were to do a southern push and actually take Sector 3, they could just win by default. Malin, how long does either side have to hold all 3 sectors to win? Is it an automatic, or how does that work? But we see a T90 immediately lose somebody on the first salvo. T90 right here also loses their gunner. And this is what I was talking about earlier. T90s against Abrams in an even fight generally lose. So these 3 tanks come out and they are just getting absolutely raffle stomped here. I don't know where that round went. We just had a drone fly out though. Time tab, okay, only matters to draw, gotcha. Oh, I thought there was a rule, Malin, where if all 3 sectors are controlled, that team just automatically wins. That was a drone hitting them. You know, they need to be really careful because they are very close to hitting their own tank. Like, seriously, this guy's blocking his ability to fire right now. Well, I would think like a 10-minute domination timer would be something. It's not like an instant win. Like, for balancing sake, I'd give them like 10 or 20 minutes. Yeah, they're bailing from this position. They've already lost 1. They have 1 that might have just gotten detracts. If he repairs in the open, I'm expecting a tank round to literally rip this guy in half. What the fuck happened to you? I think he pulled the body out and they just switched places and the man just did the cha-cha slide on the ground. I'd hate to look at that man's face now. Now looking in the distance, what do we have cooking? We have an Abrams down over here and we have another Abrams that got cooked here. So Blue 4 are also taking tank losses. Dwight does have AT. They could sneak up and kill Dwight. Dwight just got overpressured. They could take his AT and then use it to kill the tank. Op 4 is about to pull a pro gamer move. All Harna has to do is find Dwight, kill Dwight, take his Maz, and then start taking out tanks. So we see continued harassment here. It looks like another T90 got cooked. That was Norris who tried turning around. He's taking harassment from Rook over here. So Op 4 lost 2 of their tanks. More rounds coming in. Very risky again to expose your rears in an armored fight. Uh-oh. Wait, they're confused because they just... I think the driver realized last second that there was someone there, and he's like, what?
GW's here. Let's try
saw running around.
So Tackle's trying to talk to him and say, hey, I knew there was Op 4 running around. Or is that someone permadead?
Yeah, that's Patriot I saw.
So now we're starting to run into people that have died 3 times. Because once they die, we hear them in Spectator. So we have quite a few people on their second death.
Guys.
Actually, there's a guy in here.
Ah, that might be Norris.
When you said get out of here.
Yeah. It was the guys I saw on ground. Yeah, for sure.
We're going to now need to mute ourselves here because we can still hear Spectator. That will be updated soon. All right, Tomer's been knocked out. They brought the gas up. Got Dwight over to the side. Gazog's got the tire. Uh-oh. Gazog spotted him. That Maz is looking kind of tasty. Gazog's looking for him again. He wants that Maz. Some of the T90s getting away. They found a gas. Otherwise, nothing else much going on here. Dwight is immediately killed off. Kiri now drives up. Kiri, don't get out in front of the Op 4. Kiri. Kiri. That's his last life, too. Oh, the tank's starting to wake up. We have another tank coming. No way they're actually going to sneak out of this. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No fucking way. Are they going to actually cha-cha out of this one? No fucking way. What in the Payday 2 extract bullshit is this? Kiri bleeds out. The level of player on Blue 4 today is... It really is something. It really is something. And it's fascinating to see that juxtaposed with the fact that the Abrams usually outperform a T90 1-to-1 or 3-to-3 on a front-to-front assault. But the skill gap is what's making it. Now, here's the funny thing. Are they going to come around? Because does Kiri have AT in that vehicle? Because what if they now come around and start hitting the tanks on the rear? Just think about that. We have a single 2-man Chucklehead team right now bullying 4 tanks. And now they're calling T90s to come up since now they know that these 4 vehicles are up here. This is just impressive. Very impressive. So I don't think they got the AT launcher that Dwight had. Look at Blue 4 here, though. Op 4, they've got a little bit of defense on Sector 1 now with that BMP. They're committing a lot of resources to the north because they know of all these tanks up here. And then they've just got some spaced out armor to the south. And Blue 4 just keeps taking casualties. That was Flavis's last life too. Okay, so if they get to 2 and they're dead, they're out. So if they have 2 and they're alive, it's their last life. If they have 2 and a skull, they're pretty much out of the game. No fucking way. No fucking way are you gonna get away with this. Again. This is the 3rd tank crew they've done this to. Grenade goes out. Tom turns out and gets on the machine gun? Can these guys steal a tank? Steal the tank. Steal the fucking tank. Are they allowed to steal the tank? Please steal the fucking tank. No fucking way. Please tell me they're oh my god, they miss. No fucking way. Are you fucking kidding me? This 2-man team is just doing God knows what at this point. He's gonna think he's getting blue on blued. Oh my god! He's now turning around going like, what's going on? Why'd this tank just do that? That's a T-track. He's trying to friendly wiggle. He's trying to fucking friendly wiggle him. You have to shoot him at this point, dude. He's clearly trying to kill you. There is going to be some salty reports about this, thinking it was a blue on blue, but in reality, it's because OPT4... I also think this is perfectly genuine. If you are dumb enough to get a tank captured and they pull this on you, I think they're trying to pull people out of the seat so they can take them. They got eyes on that other Abrams. All right, you hear that AK fire, so you know you were you were pranked at that point. Tackleberry's coming up to finish you off. Fucking priceless. And even with that, we still had a T90 loss. And as they're trying to pull away, they're now taking fire from other T90s, and they're cooked. Multiple shots on the front penetrate in the same spot, and I think it instantly cooked the magazine off. And Tackle comes in and kills that remaining crew. My god. Imagine getting pranked that hard. Meanwhile, Kabubi here has found 2 infantry in the ammo rearm vehicle and managed to kill 2 dudes, and is making these vehicles pull away in a panic He has caused an armored platoon to rout because they're harassing the triple R point. We got some infantry fighting here. Blue 4 winning this other infantry fight. So it's not just Op 4 doing some crazy shit. Blue 4 are also responding with their own infantry in kind. But in terms of the sheer amount of damage, Op 4s are just more effective. Look at this. Got another T-90 in between two Abrams with two infantry groups around these armored assets here. IFE is looking around trying to hunt those infantry that were reported to be harassing that tank platoon. But look at all of these losses up here. That whole Abrams platoon destroyed in a very nasty fight there. God, that's funny. Blue 4, I think they hunted down one more Op 4 guy and took him out, just down to one more Op 4 member. Got the BMP now panic firing over here. You see a T-90 engaging another NR member. Kremet is dead. That was his last life. Gregory and Audrey Sip, both dead. Gregory got a kill or two here. Same with the other guy, but...
Give him a warm welcome, shall we?
Aye, aye, aye. This is Wargames. It's... You can find some pretty nutty shit here. I think another thing we're seeing is Op 4 is trying to counter where they're finding the enemy. Blue 4 is just trying to counter based off of a strategy. And Op 4 are just doing a lot more damage to Blue 4. But for Blue 4 not getting a lot of their tanks and stuff armored in the beginning to lose that initial number, I think that's what kind of started the domino chain here, because now that both sides are taking even losses, that's what's causing Blue 4 to lose. Look at how they literally have their engine right here. And the engine is still here. Body literally gets flown out of the tank. And now they're getting kicked out. You can see where the Abrams was successful in hitting, even destroying the ERA plating on this T-90 and causing it to change textures. But as soon as the Abrams exposed that engine block, it's all over. And then where's the other Abrams? Disabled because the single guy pulled out. So it's just that mindset of, hey, if you are an armored tank driver, you need to make sure you're not exposing your rear, aka your engine, to your enemy, because they're going to be able to kill you a lot quicker. That's why that T-90 there has 4 destroyed ERA plates and is still sustainable. I guess drivable compared to this one being disabled and that one being fully cooked off. I don't want to call an early GG just yet. Usually I would in a situation like this. We still have 69 minutes. Nice. But anything could still happen. But look at this Abrams right here. So Bradley got cooked. You got a T-90 here trying to now hit that Abrams, but it keeps hitting the hitbox of the Bradley instead. And then you have this BMP back here. It is getting nice shots on the T-90. T-90 just cannot seem to get their gun over the Bradley. You just heard the explosion of an ERA plate. This BMP needs to drive down and menace it, because otherwise this T-90 might lose this fight. Another plate gets cooked. They're trying to do a quick field repair, but again, the Bradley is just causing them... Yep, they're trying to line up the gun. That little slit right there is why they're able to get some of the machine guns over. Oh, but the Abram gets another beautiful shot on the T-90. Multiple hits on the turret. Turret's disabled. They're trying to test with an HE round, but it's not working. We need to see this BMP come around and use the Metis. I'm worried if the BMP's disabled. Oh, well, Abrams knows about him. Uh-oh. BMP now panic firing. That autocannon is not going to do much except potentially disable the Abrams' gun. And the Chucklehead turned out. Now, for BMPs, the engine's in the front. This is all crew compartment here, so it's easy to penetrate in with something like an MPAT round. It penetrates, it detonates inside, it will kill everybody in there. But it won't hit the engine. But you're still probably getting killed, so. How does the Abrams suddenly know about them? I'd imagine the Abrams was... The reason that BMP was stuck here is I imagine the Abrams was already engaging this and managed to disable it. And then the T-90 tried to come out and assist the Abrams. So I think this was the first fight, and then when we came over, this was the second fight going on. Because the Bradley here was working with this Abrams, and that's what got cooked off by the T-90. So as the two tanks were engaging the two IFVs... Then the Abrams turned around. The T-90 got stuck in this little funny slit fight here. And the Abrams is now able to adjust, but you can see they're now having the same issue at the perfect angle. Who's winning? Op4. It's been pretty funny. So we've got a single T-90 coming between some Op4 infantry. Abrams still struggling with that hitbox the same way the T-90 did. We have another Abrams coming down, but 3 T-90s on a flank for it. I mean, now we're just seeing things getting picked off here and there. So they're going to give up on it because they just can't. They don't have the angle. They'd have to repair the vehicle. Looking over here, we see that T-90 is now turned around and is moving away. Meanwhile, you have the Abrams driving forward, but 2 T-90s waiting. Abrams stops and immediately takes a double load to the flank, penetrating the ERA plating on the side. Oh, and that man takes a fucking 120 round. He gets so hard. He starts breaking the physics of the Abrams. They bailed out and immediately got taken out. Oh, I said it earlier. One of my favorite parts is watching the crew bail out and then taking the tank round, bro. Literally getting turned into red mist. Oh, you'll love to see it. Meanwhile, it looks like this crewman here, FPS Freaks, has actually been killing some of the dismounts, trying to get out of the vehicle. Looks like the T-90 here has exposed a bit of its front. The Abrams is trying to hit the ERA plating to breach into the T-90. They're shooting out the optics! They're trying to make the Abrams blind so they can safely maneuver around, but that's only going to work if they actually move because the gun's going to keep firing at the previous position. The bullying. The absolute bullying and the ingenious of them. Crusher tries to get out. Very risky. Oh, and you get folded into the tank. They're basically trying to make the vehicle mobile. Tank is now trying to expire on that exposed corner. I think they got killed because the round started penetrating to the ERA plating. And it killed the guy in here, and the other guy bailed out because they realized their mistake of exposing a part of their tank. AP to penetrate that frontal ERA, and then MPAT to penetrate and detonate inside. At least I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So Blue 4 are in Sector 5. They're not capturing it because it's only armored vehicles can capture it. And every time they try to run a vehicle up, they run into resistance. And it's kind of funny looking at this crew. They've only gotten 1 tank kill and 1 APC kill. But here, let's look at spawns on both sides. So, Blue 4, we've got 1 tank, 3 tanks, 4, empty, 9 tanks remaining. On Op 4, we have 2, 5 with 2. Malin, you might need to fix that because that's Arma waiting to happen. So 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17 to 9. So if the fight stays the way it is right now, it is going to be an Op4 victory via having more tanks than Blue 4 still alive. Is this an Abrams cooking? That is another Abrams cooking. Now, how we got wedged on... You ever look at, like, a car crash and you're left to wonder how? I'm in that situation right now. How the fuck did you manage that? So did the tanks kill you, or did you somehow armor yourselves again? Yeah, you're right. I guess the tank trap did its job. As being tank trap. You still hear it cooking off. Whoops. But we've got two Op4 tanks in Sector 3. Sector 3 being taken out right now. It's because M and N are right next to each other. We got some people getting kicked off, probably being super salty in spectator chat. You know, admins being admins, but Op4 might now get a total a supremacy victory at this point, because let's look at Blue 4's armor. It's literally all back here. They're being forced to do Bradley stuff. What? What is going on? I think Blue 4's morale is shattered. Bradley stuff, I don't know, but we came over here and one dude was run over. This man's being saluted. Did he want a photo? Bro wanted a photo. Bro, you're losing all 3 sectors. I think it's a little not time for photo. What? Or are they getting the photos before they do what's called a pro gamer move? Don't get me wrong, toes can be very effective against T90s if you hit them in the right spots. I mean, there's many things that can be effective if you hit them in the right spots, but it's all about knowledge and using that information properly. But look at that, Op4 have control of this sector. I'm not, okay, they haven't fully captured it yet. So we gotta let that gray box fill in. I think because there's only one tank in the zone, and we got some infantry still in it. But, Blue 4, if they get this BMP repaired and drag it into the zone, it would start capturing Sector 5. Because it's technically an APC in the zone, but now you got that slowly ticking in. And Op4, they got a lot of their armor on the far north. That's because Blue 4 did. So we might have an opportunity here where Blue 4 could do some counterattacking, but I don't know. And then we have a T90 being sent down here to see if that Abrams is still there. At this point, ay, ay, ay. Just going through my Discord DMs to see if anyone sent me anything funny. There were some funny ones in there, don't get me wrong. And it looks like the T90 just hit that vehicle in the rear. I mean, look at NASA. 5 kills, only 1 death so far. So this tank crew, we got 3 and 2. And then we got nothing on Kremet, but we got this T90 just coming in to finish him off at this point. His orders are to eliminate that Abrams. So I think Depso's now sprinting over to see if he can make that T90 work. Not a bad idea, Depso. They're there to fight an Abrams, not a T90, so if he can make it and repair the gun. Look at that. All 3 sectors are taken and scoring points. We have less than an hour remaining. Blue 4 going into a platoon. Wow, a diamond formation with a command vehicle in the front. Looks like Blue 4 detonated the BMP. They already have infantry here, so we're going to see a counterattack. However, there is a platoon of T90s. Okay, no, a section of T90s. They are engaging, though. Uh-oh. Want to quickly do a Depso check. Abrams cooks off. Depso pulling the people out of the T90. He's got a great shot on the T90's rear, but did the T90 notice that vehicle juggling? They might have. T90 doing the right thing. They're now putting their front towards that tank. They've got a great rear shot. Depso cannot maneuver the gun, though. He's firing blind because I think the Abrams disabled the cameras. So this is just him panicking. He can't do anything unless he repairs the optics. Wait, he might have, but he's turning it the wrong way. I don't know why this T90 isn't immediately trying to hit the rear. It's hitting the front, and that kicks Depso out. So because the plates are already spent, they just fired right there and immediately took it out. Depso going prone. He's trying to surrender, and the T90 is having nothing of that. All right, looking over here, Bradleys are engaging the T90s. They actually managed to take out the support BMP with this T90 section. A platoon is usually 4 vehicles, a section is 2. So it's 2 T90s and a support BMP. That would be the technical wording for this. Looks like something got disabled up here. Nope, that is a wreck of an Abrams. Did you see the Bradleys trying to use it as cover? Bradleys, though, they've got that same ERA plating on the sides. And then the Bradley's engine is also on the front, which is where it is more up-armored. So it's going to take continuous shots to disable them. But you see, the tanks, they're not adjusting to engage the front because the rear is just the crew compartment. So rounds will over-penetrate. You'll have a little bit of shrapnel and deflection. Tome out. Oh, it hits a bush. But if the T90s don't know to engage the front of the Bradley, rather than they're still thinking it's an Abrams and they're engaging the rear because the engine is different, or in a different spot, that could buy the Bradleys time to use these tow launchers. Beautiful hit. Cooks off the ERA plating on the front. Another hit there will insta-kill the T90. And that is why the Bradley has 2 tow launchers. But we see that rear Brad is taken out. And this front Brad is disabled. There is still 1 Bradley here, and she's got a dual tow launcher, but she doesn't have them deployed. Wait a minute. Let them loose. I don't know if the Bradley can fire both of those tows at the same time and trigger a reload, but that would be the best way to engage a T90. Because the first is going to destroy the ERA plating, and then the second will penetrate past what's remaining of the ERA plating and hit right into the armor. And more than likely cause something to cook off. The question is, do they have the defilade? Look at this real quick. We got India in the back here, getting harassed by some Blue 4 armor. Other tank now coming in. India was at 4, they're down to 3. I mean, tank rounds can just rip that group apart. Waiting to see if the Bradley gets another hit. Looks like we've got one of the crew doing some minor repairs to that tank. Bradley just doesn't have an angle. Got 2 more tanks coming around the south. Look at the sheer amount of Blue 4 we have in the zone, but because they don't have any armor that's able to get into here, they're unable to take it. And I don't know what they're doing, if they're shooting at each other because they're driving vehicles and whatnot that are Op4 coded. But I mean, the sheer amount of manpower that are here rather than using armored vehicles, that's what's really getting Blue 4 too. All right, we have another KIA by Op4 in here. Bullets are just penetrating this barn. Oh, that's rude. Just drive right up to the rear of the vehicle and unload on it. Ah, inappropriate. Now we have an Abrams playing peekaboo. Can you imagine not shutting the door and an Abrams just drives up, sticks its gun inside, and just starts mag dumping you? Abrams peekaboo was not on my bingo card for this mission. And then there was one. He might be able to get away, but he's got no transport now, so good luck. Meanwhile, we got a Bradley driving up here. I do see an AT guy, Eander, who has gotten a tank, killing 4 infantry kills. He does have an RPG-32. Does he have ammo? Because this is a Bradley. Little tough to kill a Bradley, but 2 rounds could do it. Oh. Gas driver there is immediately taken out. He's got a second guy right here. He gets out. And he immediately takes multiple hits and gets knocked out. Wayne hits the floor. Ouch. We got 51 minutes left, chat. I'm pretty sure this is GG with all the points that are being gained. The fact that Blue 4 isn't getting any. Blue 4 is pretty much close to being completely out of tanks. What was on my bingo card? I'm going to be honest, that's a saying I use when something really funky happens that, you know, we normally don't expect in an FNF or a Wargames or an or CRA match, but ooh. So every second is a point gain. So eventually there will be a point, yeah, no pun intended there, in the timing of the match where even if Blue 4 were to magically take all 3 zones back, they still wouldn't be able to gain enough points to beat out Op 4's score. Hearing a tow launch in the distance. That might be this Bradley. It looks like it either hit a tree. Looks like it was just short. Yeah, no, I wish. Now these 2 T90s are just going to bully that Bradley, and it looks like they got a hit. They're forcing that Bradley back. Funny enough, the Bradley is the vehicle you'd actually want to turn around. Or go at a 45-degree angle away, because then you're getting the benefit of your ERA plating. And then anything that hits on your rear is going to hit the opposite side of your ERA plating and overpen the vehicle. So if you get an angle, actually the angle that they were just driving at was perfect. You don't want to drive completely away from them because 1, that gives them an easier shot, and 2, anything is going to then penetrate that reared armored personnel doorway for, you know, crew, not crew, but infantry to get in and out. But rounds will easily penetrate that and then get into the crew compartment and kill people. But if you drive at an angle like this, 1, you're making it harder for them to engage you, and 2, if they do hit you, you have your ERA plating on the side, and then the side that's still exposed to the enemy is going to overpen and not kill you. And that's all keeping the engine and the front defensive. All right, so now we got a single T90 with a second one in the back, and then Iander the AT god. And he is putting pressure on the Bradley. FNF should be on the VODs. I didn't get an email saying it was deleted. We didn't delete it. The only VOD we have deleted in recent memory was the last Stillwater out because someone used a gamer word, and I do not play with that on Twitch. Because, well, Twitch gave me a month-long ban when someone used a gamer word, so clearly they don't play with me. All right, right off the bat, we have an Abrams getting engaged. Is there a way for me to edit a bleep into that? Yes. However, when I upload that to VODs, no one's going to give a shit on YouTube because the VODs channel size is so low, but there's no way for me to go into Twitch and censor it after the fact in, like, post-production. Oh, no, you're right. The title might be wrong because the video did glitch out. All right, so we just had an RPG hit the rear of the Abrams here. And then the other Abrams got cooked. They just took a hit to the rear. Eander just tried to put an AT shot into that, but they're now making Blue Force armor pull back. So yeah, the VOD title might be wrong because Twitch, or not Twitch, well, I don't know who's to blame, but sometimes OBS doesn't send the title data that I put on OBS to Twitch, and instead it just reverts back to the previous title. So I think that's why you're not finding it. So you might see the POG title twice for 2 VODs, just to pick the second video, or I guess the earlier video, and you should be good, because the later video would be the POG stream. You gotta remember, my buddy Genesis shot me a message saying, I think the title's wrong, and as soon as I look back at my title screen in OBS, and yeah, it reverts back. I'm just like, God damn it. I can't win. Op4 really likes using this northern corridor, and they have no reason not to, because Blue 4 is not putting any pressure on the sectors themselves by capturing them. So instead, they're just pulling around, engaging vehicles that come in. I think Blue 4's strat is just completely broken at this point. But let's do one more armor check, shall we? How many tanks do we have? 0. 0. 0. That's cooked off. 0. 2. Blue 4 have 2 tanks cooked off. Or, excuse me, 2 tanks left. Op 4, I'm not going to count these 2. This is called Schrodinger's T90. It is both 2 tanks alive and dead at the same time. This is a visual representation of what Schrodinger's cat is. Because as soon as you turn the engine on, in either of these tanks, chat, what's going to happen as soon as one of the engines turns on and activates the physics? Say it. You know what's going to happen. Be my voice. Boom. Air Force Armored Brigade. That's a good one. All right, so we're not counting that abomination. We've got 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Potential armor moment with that barrel too, but that's a disabled one. 13, 14, 15. So there are 15 tanks in reserve for Op 4. If Malon's feeling nice, he could fix these and make it 17. And Blue 4 has a big, fat 2. Yeah. So let's do some simple arithmetic, ladies and gentlemen. If Op 4 has 15 tanks in reserve and Blue 4 has 2 tanks in reserve, who do you think is more likely to win? Foregoing the fact that Op 4 is also dominating Blue 4 right now. Foregoing that. I think they just got the toe smack on that tank. Looks like it hit right on the turret, though, and the turret might be showing disabled. You do see some damage via the rust textures on the front of the turret as well. And again, what we caught in the 1v1s, the Abrams would outperform the T90 in a 1v1. But again, Op 4 just doing better tactics. Blue 4 armored a big chunk of their, starting armor in the beginning, which caused them to slow down and space out. And Op 4 just used superior numbers over a spaced out force. Like, it's that. Looks like they hit the border. And they're just hanging out as far south as they can go here as the T90 is now trying to hunt them down. Op 4 literally just rotating armor out to the north because Blue 4 do not have any way to challenge Op 4's armor superiority here. Mr. T90 would like to have a word with you. Why is there no one in the gun getting the tow out? They cook up. Malin, if you can hear me, someone should get a stern talking to for that one. You know, in a fucked up way, that actually benefited Blue 4 more than Op 4, because Op 4 could have literally just gotten on the hill, hit them in the rear with a single AP round, cooked off the munition before they got the toe up, and survived and kept moving. At least with Op 4's stupidity of panic by seeing the toe launcher slowly moving up. Because first off, single shot the toe hitting the armor, we've already seen that doesn't do anything to the T90. It's the second shot that hits it. Or if you hit it in the rear with one shot, that's what kills the T90. But players, you know, they're going to panic. They're going to think it's War Thunder and just go, ah! But you're not technically allowed to do what that Op 4 team just did. Regardless of all of that, Blue 4 technically just got a free tank kill out of that on something that they shouldn't have. So they just kind of benefited from Op 4 deciding to go air mobile with their tank. And technically, in any situation, trading one of your IFVs for one of their tanks in a tank-focused combat op is the better trade. So the winner of that fight is Blue 4. And I think that's the only Blue 4 thing that's really going to win. Is the T90 really down? It could be repairable, but I'm going to be honest, it's not going to be touched. Well, Jivu. Never mind, Jivu woke up, he's going to medic his friend and then repair the tank. Okay, yep, no, they won. Never mind. Never mind. I thought they were all unconscious, but apparently they were wearing their safety helmets so they wouldn't get concussions while they flew like a helicopter. It's the MIT-90. With the way the turret was spinning with it too, right? Oh. All right, who's going to win? A bunch of Op 4 infantry or one Indiana Jones boy? I mean, he does have 4 kills. GL them. Or you can just shoot them both in the face. God damn, Patriot. And then he noob tubes that guy. Okay, I thought Patriot was going to get murdered, but sometimes the hunters become the hunted here. I have no idea why he's beeping. Maybe he uses that beep to disorient Op 4. Ryan gets knocked out. T is now looking around going, oh, wait a minute. Something's not right. Corporal Patriot's Captain America here. Yeah, right? He's just got to defeat T. Yeah, why is Patriot beeping? That is him. Oh! And Patriot slips on the bush. T kind of put some bullets into him too, but damn. I mean, hey, going 4 for 1 is not bad. Now, again, in an armor-focused fight, killing infantry doesn't really do much, but, you know, I appreciate the ferocity. Wait a minute. Patriot decides he's not done yet. The ringing of his mic is what's keeping him alive. He's going to push him. Patriot pops a grenade around the corner, and he's going to... Okay. If he wasn't double tapped by T, the grenade would have done it. He was trying to outsmart T by making him bait him by going around the corner there and then, you know, bait him into the grenade, but T's smarter than that. The Chuckle Fox actually... Wait, no, there's a track still out. But they got the engine working again. Okay, what is that a... That's one of the triple RVICs. Is that an ammo Vic? Yeah, so they're bringing an ammo Vic up with a single Brad. They already have the tow launcher out. They see the T90 out there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're GG. 37 minutes remaining. Op 4's point tally right now is 5, 6, 7, 8. Nearly 9,000 point Maz round goes in on that tank. It did everything right, but again, yeah, I think it hit the side ERA plating, so it was weakened. But again, we're dealing with 8,000 points versus 3,400. So what's 5,000 divided by 60? Someone do this math for me real quick. 5,000 divided by 60 divided by 3. What is that number rounded down? Now the tank's just bullying the infantry, so all the gains Patriot made are now getting lost. Too much? Because if that number is greater than 36, there's no way in practice and in theory. It's 27. Okay, so that means in 9 minutes. Technically, with that number still counting up, by the way, so less than 9 minutes, Blue 4 can't win at all. But, I mean, we're seeing that that doesn't really matter. Because Blue 4 doesn't really have any vehicles left. It's just infantry that are trickling in. And, I mean, if we scroll to Blue 4 and we look, they only have one full page and then, you know, a 2-man team and a 1-man team left. Whereas if we go to Op 4, Op 4 still have another, like, 5 or 6 active teams. So Op 4 have the armor advantage, the infantry advantage, the sector advantage, every advantage at this point. It's GG. And I think what screwed Blue 4 in the beginning was arming 3 or 4 of their vehicles and then staggering out. And by basically causing themselves to stagger on their start, they got defeated in detail here. Yeah, Op 4 also had the superior tactics. When we saw images of, in 1v1s, Blue 4 would actually win. Because, again, the Abrams is better than the T90. That's just a fact. At least for RHS mod. I'm not talking about real world. I don't have access to those War Thunder archives, okay? But I'm talking RHS, Arma 3. That's just how it is. But we saw the Abrams players keep exposing their engines, their rears, to the T90s, whereas the T90s did their best to keep the front of their vehicle to the enemy at all times, which is what gave the T90s the advantage. But in a 1v1 frontal engagement, the Abrams, 4 out of 5 times, will beat the T90. So it was superior tactics at the individual tank level, and then group tactics too. We saw multiple times where a T90 would get into a one-on-one, and then we'd see a second T90 come in and go for the rear engine shot and wipe up the fight. And we just saw a crewman over here, Depso, got picked off by an Op 4 infiltrator, Asher with a suppressed AK. Gets the double taps too, and now that Abrams is dead in the water. I mean, just looking, though, there's a single Abrams up here. Op 4 just have a bunch of tanks on the northern side. We got another Bradley up there, but it's over. We're seeing more infantry players in the zone compared to armored assets, because I think all of the armored crews for Blue 4 are either on their last life or already dead. Looking back, I mean, we got 3 Bradleys right here. We got 2 more there. And that's it. 3 more Bradleys and 2 armored assets there, but I think we just run out of lives. They were there in case we had more armored crews, but it's over. And we also have an Abrams space program. Tank wasn't close enough to ram it. I think what just happened was they pulled the body out and the vehicle went flying. So it armored itself. Oh, they shoot at him, but then they realize he's friendly. The gunner's still going for him. But I think the surviving crewman in there pulled the body out and then got clipped by the tank because the tank clipped the body and then went into physics mode and literally flew. I'm I'm just trying to see if he's gonna think he's still hostile and then try to run him over or something. Coolest thing I saw today, other than those funny little Arma moments, was probably the satchel charge attached to the Crocus drone insta-killing one of those Abrams. That was pretty sexy. Everything else here, I mean, damn. There was a Blue 4 Abrams over here, and it's gone. There she is. It sent you? Bruh, it sent the crew, too! What is this? Orthy getting out. So this is Blue 4 ground command, by the way. He's getting bullied. He might get an angle where he can see. Orthy has no idea where he's getting shot from. Even then, the grenade would have taken him out. So, how many lives is that for Blue 4 Command? He still has one more life after that. Actually, no, 2, because that was his first. Otherwise, it would have ticked to 2. Damn. I got a T90 versus a Bradley here. Bradley, I think, hit the track. Second toe misses. Now that Bradley is SOL. Unless they shoot the optics out. But I think they just got a front hit with an AP round, disabled the engine. And the gunner just got turned to Swiss cheese inside his own vehicle. Pretty sure these are their last life, too. Oh, you cheeky bastard! They shot through the little... I mean, these are Scandi players, so they know to pull shit like that. So T-90s are Russians' mainstay tank. They've been trying to switch to T-14, but that's been a funny time. Abrams are the standard American tank. However, I think what we sent to Ukraine were either M1A1s or M1A2s, which are like the early gen Abrams that we... basically from Gulf War, like, you know, 90s. So they don't have all that fancy ERA plating and all the other targeting data and stuff. But I know now they're trying to make a new version of the Abrams with even more stuff, so... like, the equivalent of that 40-year-old tank would probably be something like a T-72B? I don't know the exact dates of them, but... the T-90 is a more modernized version of the T-72. But, like, you'd have to go to Wikipedia or something to look up the date range. Oh, yeah, Deacon, but a lot of that... I don't want to get into that conversation here. We can talk about DMs, but the tactics that I've seen in Ukraine are going to be much different than this. This is more open warfare, and then that is, you know, all that other stuff. But yeah, that's for a different time, but... there's literally no armored assets left, and the one that's leaving is that, and then there's one Abrams tank. Look, I think we're going to call it here. Let's be honest. Because we're at that 28-minute mark, so now even if Blue 4 were to magically get infinite tanks and bulldoze Op 4, take all the sectors in now, Thanos snap style, they still wouldn't win because the point ticks wouldn't go up high enough. I appreciate it. It's because I don't want to talk about Ukraine stuff. I don't want to talk about Israel-Palestine stuff because people, when they don't like your opinion on something, will just DDoS the shit out of you. And I have countermeasures for that, but it's just an extra thing to deal with, and I don't feel like dealing with that. Give me a week, and then we can deal with that. My bandwidth for stuff is already too much. But, ladies and gentlemen, this, in my opinion, concludes Wargames. You'll have a few skirmishes and Blue 4 having some last stand huzzahs, but it's kind of clear who won this one. Do not cast testicular torsion. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I want to go edit that brain rot footage from last night with DayZ. Manual breathe. God damn you, Ember. Ugh. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Justin, we can talk about that later. Go operate operationally. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. We'll pay it out to Op4. Otherwise, cheers, guys. Have a good one. I'm going to go harass some of you.